Hi there once again, and welcome to another Expresso mechanic tutorial. And this is episode 17 in the series Python Bytes. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at tuples. How are these different from lists? Because on the surface of things, they do look actually very similar. But as we'll see, there are quite a few differences between the two types of arrays. That's what we're going to be about in this tutorial. So without further ado, let's see if we can make this happen. I've switched to a script layout, as you can see, and we've got the script manager open. Let's just bring in a new script, and we'll remove all of the comments. Just take those last quotes out of there. And now let's see what we can do. So if we say my underscore list is equal to square brackets, and we just put some values into this. So we'll say 0, and we'll put them in at random. Let's see what else we can do. 6, 9, 8, and let's have a look. See what we've got. 5 missing, haven't we? So we've got 9 digits in there. 0, 1, 0, 3, 2, 4. Yeah, we've got 9 digits in there. So that's fine. We'll just put a 7 in there to give us 10. So in our list, which is pretty familiar to us, we've got that sorted out, and we can see that they're in square brackets, which of course we must do if we're creating a list. But however, if we say my underscore tuple is equal to, the first thing we do is use round brackets, or curly brackets sometimes referred to, but they're not truly curly brackets, round brackets. But we can then do the same thing. So if we said 0, 3, 2, 4, 1, 6, 9, 8, 5 and 7, we've got the same thing expressed as a tuple. So what are the differences between the two? Well, the essential difference between a list and a tuple is that the values in a list can be changed. In a tuple they can't, they're actually fixed. So you can say that in a way the list could be described as an array containing variables, whereas a tuple is an array containing constants. That's one way you might be able to describe them. But anyway, let's have a look and see what we can do. So with, for example, my list, if I wish to, I can say my list dot pop brackets 3. So that's going to remove the number 4. And if we print my list and we execute, we can see that the number 4 is no longer in that list because we've removed it. We can also then say my list dot insert, and we could say 3, so we're going to insert at location 3 or index value 3 within the actual list, and we'll say 10 this time. And if we execute that, we can now see that where there was once a 4, there's a 10. So we've got this ability within lists. So that's one key difference, because in tuples we can't do this. We don't have this functionality. We can't do it. These values are fixed. We cannot change them. So that's all good. But we can also say my list dot sort, and if we execute that, we now get things in numeric order. Now with a tuple we can't say my tuple dot sort, but we do have something similar. If we just take away this, what we'll do, we'll print my tuple instead. We'll leave that in there. If we just clear this out, just execute that, and we can see that we do get the tuple printed out. Fantastic. So that's working the way we want it to. But if I say st, which will be for sorted, is equal to, I can say sorted brackets my underscore tuple, And that will give us the same result, but what we'll say in this case is not my tuple, we'll say st in the print. And if we do that, we can see that the tuple has now been sorted into numeric order. However, there is one important point to make. It has now been turned into a list because tuples cannot be altered. So what else can we do with tuples? Well, if we were to say I is equal to my underscore tuple dot index brackets, and we give it a value. So let's say 6. Now what we're doing here is looking for the index value of the number 6 within my tuple. So let's see what happens when we print this. We'll print I and we get 5. So my tuple is here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We get 6 at that index value. So that's the way we can work with that particular function here. And don't get confused with the list that's been sorted, because that list is nothing to do with it. If we wanted to, though, we can look at that list. We can say print st dot index open brackets 6 double close, and we will get 4, because of course one is here, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So within our converted list, that's absolutely correct. So there you go. That's how you work with the index function within tuples. Moving on from here, we can say C is equal to, and it will be my tuple again, so we'll copy that, just drop that in there, dot count. So what does this do? Well, we need to put a value between the two brackets here. But before we actually do this, what we need to do in order to really demonstrate it is to just change a few values in here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put another 8 there, and I'll put another 8 at the beginning. So if I put 8 in there, I'm saying count the number of 8s in the tuple. Hit execute. Where are we? We've got 5. What are we printing? We're printing I. That's why we got 5. So let's print C. I'm going to say we don't have 5, we've got 3. And we have 3. So that's how that works. That's how the count value, or a count function, I should say, works. If you want to know the number of a certain type of element you've got in there, you just use this count function, and it will tell it which one you want to actually count, and it will tell you. I mean, if we put any other number in there, if we put 7 in there, we'll just get 1. Because of course all the others, we've only got 1 of each. So you've got that functionality. We can also get the sum of all the numbers. So we could say S is equal to, and it will be sum brackets my underscore tuple. And if we print S, we get 59. So all these numbers added together make 59. Fantastic. I mean, again, we can do the same with lists. If we say my list, execute that, we get the same values, or we get the same result. We've got 51 in there. So, you know, there is similar sort of functionality between the two, as I say, but not absolutely the same. Let's see where we go from here. Again, we know about finding the length of lists. We often use the len function, and again, if we say Al is equal to len my underscore tuple print L, it will give us the length, which is 10, because we know that we've got 10 digits in there. So that's how the len function works, exactly the same as with lists. And then finally, we've got 2 more functions that we can look at, and they are minimum and maximum. So mn for minimum is equal to min my tuple. We'll print this out and we'll see what we get. And it gives us a value of 1, because 1 is the smallest number. So that's our minimum value. And then if we finally say mx for max is equal to max my tuple, and print mx, we get 9, because of course 9 is our maximum value. So that's the functionality that's associated with tuples. Nowhere near as advanced as lists, because there's so much more that we can do. But another thing that we can do with both lists and tuples is add them together. So if we were to say my underscore list 2 is equal to, and I'll just put a few more digits in there, just, I don't know, 10, 11, and say 12. And we do the same with my tuple. I'll just copy this and then bring it down in here. My tuple. And just change the brackets. I can then say my new list is equal to, and it will be my underscore list plus my underscore list underscore 2. And if we print my new list, we'll see what we get. And we can see that we've added the 10, 11 and 12 on there. We placed a 10 in there, but we've now just added that together. We can do exactly the same with the tuples. So if we say my new tuple is equal to my tuple plus my tuple 2, and we print my new tuple, we can see that we've got a similar result. We've just added the two together. So yeah, I mean, there are similarities and there are differences that are key. But as I say, the most important one is that you cannot change the values in a tuple. Once they're there, that's it. You're stuck with them. So let's say, for example, you've got a situation where you've got 3 arrays of coordinates, one for the X, one for the Y, and one for the Z axis, and you know that these are fixed and they're never going to change, then you might as well use a tuple and store them in there rather than using a list, because there's just no need to change anything. They're fixed. So it works really well when you've got a situation where you've got a list of constants that you need, or an array of constants, as I said earlier, that you need just to be absolutely fixed and you don't want them changed. Then that tuples are brilliant for that. Just you can use them for that particular type of situation. And another thing as well that's worth noting is that we don't actually have to use the brackets at all. We can take these brackets away and they will still be recognized as tuples. If we just execute that, we still get the same result. It puts them back in brackets, but we don't have to use brackets at all if we don't want to. So it's entirely your choice. You can put your numbers in brackets if you so wish, or you can simply leave them off. The interpreter's not going to mind. Just something that's worth taking note of. There's just one last little thing that I'd like to go through. If we say my short list, and we just say is equal to just one element, a number 1 in brackets, and down here we do the same with my short tuple is equal to, and I'll just put a number 2 in brackets in there. Okay, if we say print my short list brackets 0, and we hit execute, we get 1. So no problem at all. We can select our 0 index value and we get 1. Let's see what happens when we try that with my short tuple. And we hit execute. We get an error. The object is not subscriptable. So this is not being recognized as a tuple. It's just a 2 in brackets. It's not actually recognized as a tuple. If we put 2, 3 in there and execute, we suddenly get 2. So you've got to have more than one element in a tuple before it's recognized as a tuple. So that's a little bit of a strange anomaly there, but that's just the way it is, just the way it works. So bear in mind when you're using tuples, if you want to actually work with the index values, you've got to make sure that you've got more than one element in there, otherwise this isn't going to work. Okay, so that's just a little piece of information there that's important. Anyway, that is about what I wanted to show you in this particular tutorial. So that just about brings this one to an end. So as always, I really hope you've enjoyed doing this one and that it's given you some ideas and some new insights for things that you can perhaps incorporate into your own projects. And if you have enjoyed the video, then please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, leave a comment and ring the bell. And wherever you happen to be on social media, then please do share this video, because all this good stuff really does help keep the channel moving in the right direction. But anyway, that about wraps this one up. So I'll see you very soon on the next tutorial.